If you're someone who thinks that behind closed doors, Donald Trump is a skilled negotiator, perhaps his public blunders are just the media's portrayal and in reality, he's playing a masterful game, then listen closely to this clip from Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witoff, during his interview with Tucker Carlson. It shows just how easily Trump was duped by Vladimir Putin. Witoff shares the story of a personal gift Putin sent Trump, an exquisite portrait of Trump's own face, painted by a leading Russian artist. Putin had asked Witoff to deliver it to Trump, and Trump, according to Witoff, was deeply moved by the gesture. He even tells a touching story of how Putin prayed for Trump after he was shot, not because he was president, but because they had a personal friendship. This moment, though it sounds innocent, is a clear example of how easy it is for world leaders, like Putin, to manipulate Trump. All it took was a flattering portrait to win over the self-proclaimed art of the deal guy. It's embarrassing, really, that something so shallow could melt the ego of someone who is supposed to be negotiating on behalf of the United States. This situation reflects how autocrats around the world understand Trump's narcissism and use it to their advantage. They know that with a little flattery, they can get him to give in. Whether it's Trump's relationship with Putin, Kim Jong-un, or Xi Jinping, it's clear that these leaders aren't loyal to Trump or the United States. They're loyal to their own countries, and they exploit Trump's need for praise to get what they want. Putin, for example, has turned NATO into one of its weakest states in history. Xi is now in a prime position to take Taiwan if he chooses, and North Korea is advancing its nuclear program because Trump is too easily swayed. This is the reality of negotiating with someone who doesn't see beyond his own self-interest. When Ukrainian President Zelensky didn't fall into this trap, Trump lashed out. During a meeting in the Oval Office, Trump confronted Zelensky for not being respectful in front of the media. Trump's fragile ego couldn't handle that Zelensky wasn't willing to flatter him like other world leaders do. Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman points out that many world leaders recognize Trump's ego-driven behavior and try to flatter him to win him over. However, Zelensky didn't want to play that game, he chose to stand his ground instead. Vindman explains that while it would have been easy to flatter Trump, Zelensky had to hold firm in the face of Russian aggression and not give in to the demands of a president who was more interested in personal gain than protecting global security. This brings us to a hard truth. Donald Trump isn't a strong leader, he's a weak man's idea of a strong leader. His ego-driven approach to diplomacy has led to disastrous outcomes, from a failed trade war to an emboldened Russia. And as his administration catered to adversaries like Putin, it's clear that America's interests were left on the back burner. In short, Trump is a terrible negotiator, and the international community knows how to exploit him. Whether it's our allies or our enemies, they've figured out how to get what they want from him. These moments, as highlighted by Witoff and Carlson, only serve to reinforce the fact that the world's autocrats have been running circles around our former president. The reality is, Trump's inability to see beyond his own reflection has put the United States at a disadvantage, while strengthening our adversaries. And for those who still think Trump was a mastermind negotiator, this latest revelation should be a wake-up call.